Hi, everybody. It's Terry K. Brown with Phenomenal Woman Rise Up. We have a great show today. I want to thank everybody for joining me today, and we're going to get started. I have a couple guests this morning. I have JGoodrum and Bobbi Meredith. I think they're coming on right now. There's Miss Bobbi. Ooh.
Hey girl, hey. Oh, let me change this background.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. You know, this Zoom thing, I like StreamYard, plug for StreamYard.
What is it? StreamYard? Oh, I never heard of them.
Well, that's another thing I'll tell you about another day. Hey, I want to welcome you to the show, and I'm sure JJ is going to be joining us in a minute. And this show right here is kicking off our month for August, and it's geared on preparing our children for a successful school year. And we're going to start out talking about buying a home where you're living instead of renting, and how the process can get started and how easy it is. I shouldn't be talking.
No, it's okay. You got through it though. That's the thing.
But it's something that I'm just overjoyed that I finally did. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's really, a lot of people think it's a really big thing to do. And technically it is,
right.
But it's really something that everybody can do. Your circumstance can be worked through, and I'm a living witness. And it's something that you can get started on when your children are young.
Yes.
And build on that foundation, and it's just a wonderful thing. So what I'm going to do, I think JJ said she was logging in.
Okay.
I want to try to get her in here, but I don't see. See, this is that Zoom stuff. I don't see where she's trying to get in.
It will tell you that she's at the door at the top of your screen. If she's knocking, it'll say
at the door.
Yeah. It'll say that she's waiting to get in.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to start, and when I see it, I'll let her in.
Okay. I'll be watching my phone too, just in case she texts and say, "Hey, I can't get in."
Okay. She said she was logging in now, but my computer was running slow and crazy anyway. But
okay.
Anyway, so while we're waiting, tell me a little bit about you and what's your purpose and what you do and how you got started.
Wow. So that will probably take up the whole show, but I'm going to go ahead and truncate that. Okay. So I'm all over the place because my degree is actually in business management. And that's because I didn't know what I wanted to do, right? So I just knew it would be some form of business. In a previous life, I was a police officer in Cleveland for a lot of years, and I left there as a detective. Right. That's what I'm telling you, I'm all over the place.
Girl.
Right. So I left there at the rank of detective back in 2003, I think it was 2003 or 2004. And shortly thereafter, I moved to Charlotte from Cleveland. And I knew that I wanted to do something to help people and to serve. So I got into insurance, and I found that there was a hole in our insurance system, meaning that people of color generally did not have life insurance in particular. They had the insurance that was mandated for them, but they just did not believe in life insurance. So that's where I started. And then my financial services career. And then I wanted more than that. So I was drawn into mortgages, the mortgage industry. So I also found a hole in that there was just not programs available generally to underserved people and people of color. We had to fit into this very neat box that the big banks would offer. And so a lot of our people just were not served in that capacity. So I went out to find a company that offered many programs that would help people who do not fit in those traditional boxes. So here I am, several years later, and still, just it's more than a career for me. It's a ministry. It's really a ministry to try to help people attain their dream of home ownership.
Woo, girl, I'll tell you, I'm so glad that she decided to switch over to mortgage broker because you're excellent at it. We'll talk about that later. I'm not going to talk about me all the time, but you and JJ, hey baby, you and JJ just, y'all, I get so excited every time I think about what you two are doing for the communities up here and no telling where else. But JJ, I'm glad you're here, sweetheart. Introduce yourself.
Yes.
And let people know who you are, what's your purpose, and what you do.
Hi, everyone. My name is JGoodrum. I go by JGood in my business. I'm in real estate. And I was born and raised in Ohio. I'm the oldest of 9 kids. And ever since I was born, I just had a giving spirit. Initially, my background was accounting. I was the numbers girl. I loved accounting, but my personality was always, I'm a people's person. I always help people, and the two just didn't go together. So I worked as an auditor for 15 years. And when I would tell people I'm an auditor, they would look at me and say, you don't have the personality of an auditor. Like, you are fun, you're energetic, you're giving, you're this, you're that. And I knew I was supposed to be doing something else. But you know how you get complacent and you're just a check that I'm going to get every month. They pay good. I travel, I do that. But I woke up every morning like, I don't want to go to work. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to go to work. Well, in 2018, I ended up losing my job. And this was my opportunity to do real estate, what I've always had a passion for. And it's funny because I thought I wanted to purchase real estate and rent to people and things like that. But God quickly shifted that focus and said, no, you're supposed to help people realize their dream of home ownership. And it's funny because when you first get into business, you really don't know what you're supposed to do. And honestly, the first few months, I didn't either. But God quickly showed me. He kept sending me similar clients who didn't believe that they could, own a home, or well, my credit's not good, came up with excuses, that, were valid excuses, but there are things that we can do to get you there, So, and so quickly, I started to see a theme like, okay, Lord, I'm supposed to help those who don't understand or don't realize that they can become a home, help them get there. And so along my journey, with a year in my journey, Bobbi reached out to me and she was like, do you have any clients that were told no in the past and that, I could take a second look at? Girl, I had about 20 clients. I started scrolling down. And then I started like a good 4 or 5. And I was like, here's some of my most challenging cases. And within the next day, I got one pre-approved. I'm like, you got one what? So together we have been helping, over 50, 60, 70 people in less than 2 years realize their dream of home ownership. And we do it as a team.
Yes. And our motto is that we don't say no. We don't say no. We figure out a plan to get you to yes. It might not be right now, today, or tomorrow, but we will figure out a plan, and we're invested in it just as much as they are, if not more sometimes, to make that dream a reality for them.
Now, I'm telling you, audience, listen, these two here are not just speaking it, they do it. They do it. It's amazing how many people they've helped. And like I was telling Bobbi at the beginning of the show, JJ, this whole month of August is to lift up our students, make sure that we're preparing them for their best year and getting them straight. And I was talking about home ownership because when you own a home, you plant yourself, you have more power, you have spending power, you have power about making decisions with the school board, about where they build stuff in your community, where the money is going. Owning is definitely the way to go. No, there's all kinds of other reasons why you should own. But as far as I'm concerned, there are a lot of people, especially newly married people with young kids, or people who are raising kids and think, oh, I don't have no money to buy a house. I can't do it. I have these bills, I have school loans, I have this, I have that. and I'm just going to rent and stay in the district and get by. And that's why we're having this show, because you two work some miracles. You got God right there on your shoulders. And I'm telling you, I'm a living witness, people. Y'all don't know. And I just want to get this show to tell you guys the process. So JJ and Bobbi can explain to everybody it is really not as complicated and impossible as you might think. And getting a home with your name on the mortgage or paying cash, if you got it like that, is going to be one of the best stepping stones to your future. It just really is. Even at my age, I mean, it's like, it's one of the best things that my husband and I ever did. And he's owned homes before, but I haven't. But it's just, I just love pulling down the street and driving up in my driveway. If nothing else, we're not even going to talk about the financial benefits that I have and things now, but just knowing that all my money and my efforts are going to something I own. Okay, so let's start out by just talking about the advantages of owning a home. JJ, I'm going to throw this one at you. Bobbi, you jump in. Just the advantages, because some people really do not understand there are advantages when you own. Go for it.
Absolutely. So I want to throw this in there real quick. So after being in the business 1 year, I actually wrote a book called JGood's Guide to Home Ownership. And I was trying to figure out what should my first chapter be. My first chapter is actually, the benefits of home ownership, because it's all a mindset. Knowing the knowledge and getting an understanding of how this can benefit you really helps you along the way, and it changes that mindset of home ownership. That is one of the biggest things, is getting your mind right, getting your mind like, I can own a home. I will build equity. I will do this. So let me, I'm just gonna throw out a few benefits because there are several. My main benefit that I talk about in my book, the first one is equity, home equity. Home equity is simply the amount of money that you owe on your home, the principal, minus the market value of your home. That equals your equity. So for example, if you bought your home 10 years ago for $200,000, and over time you've made monthly mortgage payments, and after 10 years, let's say you owe $125,000. Now, 10 years later, your home that you bought for $200,000 is now worth $300,000. You have $175,000 of equity. Now imagine over those 10 years, there's this the cost of renting guide that I always print out. And it says, if you pay $1,000 a month in rent over 10 years, you've paid your landlord $120,000. So one, the first benefit is equity. Over those 10 years, you are not throwing away your money to your landlord and giving him $120,000. You are investing in yourself. And now after 10 years, you have $175,000 worth of equity that you can use for whatever you please. You can invest in other properties. You can pay for your kids' college. You can do so many things. You can invest. I mean, there are limitless opportunities with equity. So that's the first benefit of equity. Of home ownership. Another benefit of home ownership is, I would say, fixed monthly mortgage payments. So they're fixed every year. They may go up and down slightly, maybe $20 here or $40, or it may even go down a little bit due to taxes and stuff. But overall, your monthly mortgage payment is going to be the same. So if you bought your house in 10 years ago and your monthly mortgage payments was $1,200, 10 years later, your mortgage monthly payment is going to still be around $1,200. I tell the story in my book that I moved here from Chicago and I was renting, and the area was up and coming. So when I first got there, the rent was $600 a month. The next year when I went to renew my lease, they were going to be building shops and stuff up the street. My rent went from $600 to $750 in 1 year. Now I've been gone 15 years. The rent in that same little old apartment is $1,500 a month. So just 15 years later, that same place went from $600 to $1,500 a month. Whereas if you were owning, you're still going to be paying your same $1,200 or $1,000, whatever that mortgage payment is, no matter what develops around you, no matter what shopping area come around, you still pay the same amount. And that is huge. That is huge. That also contributes to the first thing, you know, the equity and appreciation and all that, because as things build up, your value goes up, and that's more money for you instead of more money wasting paying your landlord. And trying to think, what is one more? I have a
Well,
bunch in my book.
I have one, JJ. I got one, JJ, for you.
Okay.
I think that another thing that's really big for me is when you own your own home and you own real estate, is that I think about my children and my grandchildren, that you're going to leave a legacy. You have something tangible to leave a legacy to your children and to your family. Real estate is one of the most valuable investments that you could attain and have. So what we try to do is break generational curses by thinking that we don't deserve it. We should not have it. And we have something to leave to our children and in our family name, and leaving that legacy for them. So that is huge for us. And that's something that we reiterate when we're telling them about home ownership, because it's so much more than just, you know, owning a home or having a house or having a place to live. It's so much more than that. All the benefits that JJ talked about. And I actually printed out the sheet that JJ was talking about that she has in her book. So I can send it to you so you can share it with your audience, Terry Kay, because that's huge. That's once you look at it on paper and you see how you are actually paying someone else's mortgage, it's sickening. You know, when you could do that for yourself and own it and have something to pass down to your children as a legacy. And one other thing that I feel that is a benefit of home ownership, excuse me, is tax credits. When you file your income taxes, you will receive tax credits, and nobody likes income taxes. It's of the devil. We hate them all. But one of the bright spots of it, as a homeowner, you can write off certain things and get tax credits back for being a homeowner. So that's huge.
And I think those points right there should get people's minds, that mindset going, because like JJ was saying, and like Bobbi was saying, you have to have the mindset of profit, your own profit, building a legacy, and the fact that, like, to tie into what we're talking about this month with the children, you have to build on something for your family. It's not all about you sometimes.
Right.
It's about your family. And buying a home puts you in a position to financially set them up as homeowners in the future, and also giving them some permanency. You know, when I think about how many times I had to move because I was renting, and like you said, JJ, couldn't afford the rent when they raised the rent, so I'm moving, and my kids had to switch school districts and this and that. And if I had just thought about it and got somewhere affordable and saved up for that, the down payment was nowhere near what I thought it would be. And Bobbi, we're going to talk on that next, because a lot of people say, I can't afford a down payment, but I could have been in a home, probably not this one, it's not. I could have been in a home years ago and starting the legacy, because owning land and owning property is the way to go. It's just always valuable. There's never a time when it's not a value, you know, unless you just totally let the house go to waste, but then you own the land under it. So yes, I'd like to touch on that down payment situation, Bobbi, because a lot of people, it's like, I cannot afford a down payment. I know someone right now who works very hard every day, has been paying a rent that should be a house note, trying to keep their kids in this good school system, and really can't think, I can't afford to buy a house in the school system. So talk about that down payment.
So that is basically a conversation that we have with all of our clients. Nobody ever really thinks that they have enough money to purchase a home. So most of our clients qualify for FHA loans, which is fine, which is not a bad thing. That down payment amount is only 3.5% of the purchase price. Most people think that they need 10%, 15%, or 20% of the purchase price to qualify for a home. But even sometimes the 3.5% can be challenging to some of our clients. No judgment at all. So what we try to do is get them on a plan and a path to figure out where we can get the money from. And in a lot of cases, they don't realize that you can get money from gifts. You can borrow from your 401k without penalty to purchase a home. You have some savings. You can cut out Starbucks. You can stop going to the vending machines. And again, we put you on a plan and a path to get to that 3.5%. So what normally happens is somebody may say, well, I have a little bit of money saved up, but I don't have enough. But they don't even know what enough is. So we treat them as if they're ready, whether they are or not financially. JJ will generally send them to me and say, this client is looking for a home. She may or may not have some credit issues, and she only has a little bit of money. And my thing is, yay, let's help her. That's the last thing that JJ will text me. We need to help her. And I'm like, yeah, we need to help her. So we'll call them up. My goal is to get them pre-approved based on a projection of what they will have, let's say in 3 months, and put them on that plan to get there. And you'd be surprised as to how many people can do this once they put their mind to it. And one of our mottos is just do it afraid. We know it's hard. We know you're afraid. Just do it anyway. And we're here to guide you throughout that process from beginning to end.
Do it afraid. Do it afraid.
Do it afraid.
Okay, I have to steal that one. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So thank you for that, Bobbi, because a lot of times that's the main factor why people don't even approach it. So
Right.
JJ, if someone says, okay, I've seen Terry K's show and I really think, okay, I want to do this, and they give you a call, what can they expect? What kind of questions are you going to ask? What should they have prepared when they call you just to get the ball started?
Absolutely. So the first thing, honestly, I do is I send them to Bobbi. I have I say, hi, I look forward to assisting you. In order to better serve you, I'm going to give you my mortgage broker's contact information. Here is where we will see if you can get pre-approved, which most likely you will, either now or a little bit later. And then this also will help us determine how much home you can afford. And that's huge, because what I don't want to do is send you homes that you realistically cannot afford, that you will fall in love with. Let's say the home is $350,000, but you're only pre-approved up to $275,000. I don't want to send you those type of homes. I don't want us to even to consider those type of homes. We want to look at real life homes that you can honestly afford. So that's the first step. Talking to Bobbi, getting that number, how much can you honestly afford? And that'll be based on, your income and things like that Bobbi goes over with you. After that, I say, Bobbi will pass you back to me. And then, baby, your journey to home ownership will begin. And then, oftentimes I ask my buyer to close your eyes and tell me, in a perfect world, what would your perfect home look like? Where is it located? How many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? Things like that. And so they say, I really want to live, in either like Twinsburg or Solon or Richmond Heights. And I want 3 bedrooms. I want two bathrooms. I would like a finished basement. So I jot all those things down. And I say, tell me, what are the 3 must-haves? If the house don't have these 3 things, we do not want them. And then they'll tell me, I need at least 3 bedrooms. I need at least 2 bathrooms. I would like a finished basement, but if not, that's okay. But if there is a basement, that's fine too. So I keep all those things in mind. And what sets me apart is when we get those things down, those are the only homes that we look at. It has to have all your must-haves, and then hopefully some extra things that you like. So we go over that. And then, so what I'll do is I'll set them up on a home search. Okay, she said she wanted 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, these 5 areas, and she can afford up to $300,000. All the homes that's in that price range and have those criteria, I email to her every morning and every evening. And she starts saying, I like these, I don't like these, I like these. And when she starts saying she like these, then we go out and we go pay the home a visit. Now, some people have bought homes sight unseen. That means, oh, I see it online. It is so beautiful. Let's put in an offer. We don't do that at JGoodrum, because one thing I know is the pictures very rarely match the personal experience. So we never, ever, ever base our decision on what we see online. So we go out there, we look at the homes, and we are getting to know each other. I'm listening to you as you say, oh, I really like that. Oh, this is really open. I really like that. Or I really don't like these kind of flooring. So I'm really listening so that I can get an idea of what you're looking for. And along the way, I explained to the clients, we're getting to know each other, what their cost is when they're going to buy a home, because there are some upfront costs that we are going to incur. If you want to have a home inspection, which I encourage all my buyers, let's get a home inspection. Let's make sure that this is a solid home, that the foundation is good, that the roof is good, that there is no moisture in the basement, there is no mold in the attic, that there is no plumbing leaks and things like that. So that is an upfront cost to the buyer. So I'll say, hey, so along the way, once we find the perfect house, because we will, you're going to have to come up with at least four before 54 home inspection. Then after that, you'll need to have the home appraisal. Bobbi will talk to you about that, but that's a cost to you. It's going to be approximately $600. The lender is looking out for you. They want to make sure that we're not overpaying for this house, that we offered $250,000 and it's only worth $200,000. That ain't gonna fly. So, so I explain all of this along the way. So we already know going through the gate, we're gonna need about $1,000 up front. And depending on what state you're in, you may be required to put up earnest money, or you may not be required. In Ohio, it's not required, but I often encourage my own buyers to put up a thing called earnest money. It's just a good faith deposit saying, seller, take that house off the market. This is it. This is the one. I want it. I'm going to put up $500 and it's going to be held by the title company and say, take that thing off the market because we finna get this done.
And so to piggyback off of that, and we get so excited in talking about it because the passion is real. So in between that process, JJ and I are in constant contact, because when I give them an up to approval amount, it's up to this, but what's estimated on that is the property taxes, because we don't know the area really, we don't know how much property taxes are. So JJ will say, this individual loves this house. Does this house work for them? So I'll go in and make sure that before they go see it. So I'll go in and make sure, I say, how much of the property taxes? She always tells me that. And I'll estimate for homeowners insurance to make sure that that debt to income ratio is in line for them and that works for them. So throughout the process, I'm behind the scenes there, but she'll confer with me and say, hey, they like this property here in Richmond Heights and it's this amount and the property taxes are X amount of dollars. And I'll go in real quick and I was like, it's tight, we can do it, but I don't know. So that's a conversation that she'll go back and have with the buyer and say, okay, we can see this, but I want you to be aware this is where we are with it. So when she has the baton and she's running with it, I'm behind the scenes and she's doing her thing with, getting them in and out of those houses and making sure that they have what they want in there, because a lot of times our buyers will say, oh, I love the house, and then get home and hate it because it's none of their things that they've already wanted on their list. So she eliminates that from the beginning and saying, hey, what are you talking about? They don't even have 2 of your 3 must-haves on here. Why are we doing this? Because, it's not just a point of about wasting our time, but it's about not putting them in something that they're eventually not going to like. Because this is a huge investment. So we want to make sure that it's absolutely right for them. And sometimes they just get caught up in the process.
And that it's important also for you to be present and available during the home buying process. Because these two here, like they're saying, they're constantly working this, that, and other things that you might not have any idea what's going on. They're handling, and it's like, be ready, be available, be present in the process, because it's your house that you're buying. It's your house. It's in the end, you're going to get the keys and you're going to have the responsibility of the house. But these two here are not just trying to make a sale. These two are working together for your benefit. That's the difference with these two. I'm telling you, and I'm a living witness. It's a process. And if you're, like I said, if you had a little life form before you start to buy a house, that life sometimes comes back on you. And the surprise, oh my God. And these two work together to make sure that any roadblock that comes up can be hurdled over. And a lot of people don't understand that there's some realtors are, this is not going to work. I'm telling you right now, you can't do this. I'm telling you, these two here say, what do you want? This is what you can get. If you want it, we're going to have to do this, this, and this. And if you're present and available and roll with them, won't they do it? Won't y'all do it?
Now, I'm glad that you brought that up, Terry K, because this is not typically how a realtor-lender relationship works.
Right.
Normally, once I'm done, I pass, the realtor pass them over to the lender, and that's it, that's all. There's no more communication because lenders don't really talk to the realtors. So that's what sets me and Bobbi apart, because as bumps come in the road, as you know, some clients are not able to get the documentation together in time. Guess what? Bobbi's like, hey, you know, I requested this. Can you? And here I am on the horn. You need me to come pick it up. You need me to print it off for you. You know, so we are working together so that together we can make sure that the lender gets exactly what they need in the format that they needed, and deals aren't falling apart because we are working them together. So that is what set Bobbi and I apart from a lot of other realtors and lenders. So
and it's really important, you guys. I'm telling you, it's really, really important that they have this communication and this relationship, and they both understand that all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord. And I'm telling you, if you don't understand that part, you probably don't want to deal with them, because they're going to bring God into it. They were
that's right.
praising the Lord for my situation. It's like, it's a process, but yet it's a journey with these two. So I'm telling you, if you really want to own a home, and it's a step that a lot of people are afraid to make, like they say, do it in fear, do it afraid. It's a step that's a big step, but it's a step that can be done. And it's a step that everybody who's working every day deserves. You deserve it. You know, bringing in that money every day, you just buy what you can afford and you build on that. It's just that simple. You can do it. You really can. And you can provide a permanent place for your family. You can get equity, like JJ was saying, equity. Your monthly mortgage is fixed. You don't have to worry about anybody jacking the price up on you. You can have that legacy that Bobbi was talking about, and then the tax breaks. You know, me, I don't even want to talk about taxes. But I'm sure there's something good coming out of it with taxes. But it's coming. I know it's coming. But you guys just need to really give them a call. And if I could get you guys to kind of, I know you were saying that sometimes it's like a 3-month timeline. Can you really just give a realistic timeline for someone who doesn't have a 750 credit score, who's only making maybe about $50,000 a year and it's in the low 600? What kind of timeline can they expect if they would like to get a home? They get a pre-approval letter for maybe $125,000, $150,000 house, and their credit's not so good. What kind of timeline are they looking at? Because school's starting this month, and if they're living in the area that they want to buy, that's great. But if they're going to have to move, they need to know what kind of timeline can they expect with this.
So I think your question is twofold. And one that I can speak to as far as their credit. And if they're on the lower end of their credit, and I do have a score to work with, like you said, if they're in the low 600s and I have a score to work with, JJ and I don't treat that any differently than if they were in the high 700s. So their credit score, I mean, they might have a little bit more that they have to, challenges that we have to overcome, but that we still keep that in that same time frame as if it were somebody that has a 700 or 800 credit score. We just have to dig in a little bit deeper and a little bit harder. JJ can speak to the process as far as once they actually find a home and they put in an offer. She can speak to that, and then I can pick it back up once that happens, and we can kind of hone in what the entire process is from beginning to end in that timeline.
All right, so I mean, I've heard drama stories of people, it's taking them 2 years to find a home, 3 years to find a home, even 1 year to find a home, and that just blows my mind. But then I realized the process that Bobbi and I have. When I go out with my clients, we have a good idea of what they're looking for. And that's the only thing that we really kind of look at. There's sometimes where if they're not sure if they want a colonial or a split level or a bungalow, whatever, where we'll look at, all varieties of home. But most of the time people know I want a colonial or I want a ranch. So those are the only homes. The only homes that we look at are the ones that you would potentially want to buy. So that trims down our time a whole lot. So let's say Bobbi sent me the pre-approval. Majority of my clients, within the first 2 weeks to the month, we found that perfect home. And by the end of the following month, we've closed on that home. So it's, I would say, between 2 to 4 months time frame once we hit the ground running, looking for the perfect home. So, and there's one client where we were all over the place and it took 6 months, but it was because the client really didn't know at that time what she wanted. But if you know what you want, the time frame can go very, very quick and very, very, very smoothly. We actually had a client where I sent her to Bobbi pre-approved the same day. The next day found the house, the next month closed. So it was like 1 month. So
Yes.
it's all over the place. But working with us, it'll be quicker than later.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. I'm telling you, it's amazing. It's amazing. And then once you get the keys to your house and you roll up in the driveway and you're like, it's mine. It's a wonderful feeling. And you can start making your house a home. And that's what it's all about. Having a home, there's nothing like it. And I'm telling you, from talking from a woman who, like I said, I lived so many places when I was raising my children. And now it's like my children are in one place raising their children. All of them have, only one is not a homeowner, and it's coming for that one. And it's just, they all know the power of home ownership. And I just encourage everybody to do this. And think about where you're going in your school district. I'm also going to put some information at the end of the show about how much money each of these school districts are spending on their children. Because when you pay taxes, you're paying for the teachers, the bus systems, how much they spend on computers and everything for that school district. So I have that information too, because you might like a house in Shaker, but I'm telling you right now, Orange School District is spending the most money.
Yeah.
In Cuyahoga County. If you're gonna pay the money to live in Shaker, you can pay that money to live in Orange if you have kids that are going to school. So I want to get that information out later, but you really want to consider a lot of things when you're buying a home, because you're going to be paying for it for 25, 30 years. Unless, like I said, you got it like that. And then you get it paid for earlier. But basically, there's a lot to consider. And these two young ladies right here that you covered on both ends, the mortgage end and the realtor end. There's nothing that they won't find out. If they don't know it, they will find it out for you. Take the leap, make the call, and just see. That's what you get.
Absolutely. I wanted to say, because as you were talking and you were saying 25, 30-year mortgage type thing, I remember taking my client out to view a house, and it was being rented. Normally when we view a house, the home is empty, but the tenant was there. And she was an older lady. She was maybe in her 60s. And that gave me the opportunity to say, hey, you should consider home ownership instead of finding somewhere else to go. And what she told me was, I'm too old to buy a house. Like, all my kids are grown and I don't need a house. And I said, you're never too old for home ownership.
That's right.
I said, you don't know when the good Lord is going to call you home. You could have a good 30, 40 years left. Who knows? But let's say the Lord called you home in 20 years. You have been paying overtime these 20 years. And did you know that all that money that you've been paying into that house, that when the Lord calls you home, your children can sell that property and you can leave a legacy for your grandkids, for your kids. So even though your kids are, old and things like that, you can build now. And when you're gone, she was like, I never even thought about that. Oh my God. Like, it's a whole mindset. So we're out here changing minds. So we was able to find her a home as well. And that just blows my mind. And that just makes my heart smile that, that I'm able to come out here and, motivate, encourage, change a mindset, and then, help someone build wealth.
That is so true. And I know the client that you're referring to, and it really did make my heart smile. We had another client, and her first home she purchased, she was 81 years old.
Wow.
81 years old. And this is a different client, but she was 81 years old. She was afraid, and she had been renting all of those years. And will she finish out her 30-year mortgage? Most probably not, but that's not the point. It doesn't matter, because just like what JJ was saying and what we were saying earlier, you're leaving something for your family to build on. And that was the most gratifying. It was one of the most smaller loan amounts. It was one of the most smaller properties, but it was the most gratifying deal that we were able to close. And JJ and I celebrated through Zoom for her, because it was just such a happy moment for her at 81 years old. Can you imagine? And she did it afraid. She did it. And she said, that's all I wanted. And she felt that once she got in there, God called her home, that she had done what she needed to do for her family.
Wow, I tell you, like, I'm 61, my husband's 64, he'll be 65 this year. And when we bought our house, I mean, people talked about some people our age, they were like, because we bought a big 5-bedroom house. Okay, all our children are adults. We got grandchildren that are adults. Okay, and it's just, when I saw this house, I was like, that's the house. And when he saw the backyard, he was like, that's the house. And we were like, we're getting this house, and you guys really helped us. God, thank you, Jesus. We got this house. But it's like, we're in this big house, and we don't have no little kids running around or anything. And we probably could have got us a nice condo for a little bit less and did what we wanted to do. But we have this house, and we've already talked to our children. And it's like, this house right here, we already have equity in the house. When we, months after we bought the house, well, you all know the story. But anyway, it's like, this house is going to be a legacy for you guys. When we leave this earth, this house right here, where it's located, what it's about, is going to be something you guys better make good with it.
Yes.
Because no matter whether we're here or not, the generation after us is going to benefit from our old selves getting this house.
But you know what, Terry Kate, kudos to you, because there are naysayers out there, and there are people who will speak negatively to you and towards your dream, just because they're afraid and they don't want to do it, or they don't feel like they have the same opportunities. But the thing is like, oh, you're buying a house, and you're gonna be such and such 81 years old by the time your house gets paid off. Well, you're gonna be 81 anyway. So what?
Right.
So why not be 81 with a house, as opposed to being 81 and you have nothing to show for it?
Right.
Yep.
Y'all better call them and go for it and get what I'm telling you. And I know the one child that we have that's not a homeowner, she's like, well, I don't want a house. They have some beautiful condos. I'm like, as soon as her daughter graduates, she's getting out of where she's at and she's getting a condo on the lake. That's what
we're waiting for her. I was just looking at her file yesterday. We're waiting for her.
And I said, because I'm a pushing house. She's like, no, I don't want a house. Get you one of those beautiful condos on the lake. Wake up in the morning with the sun shining in your patio. You don't have to cut no grass. You don't have to deal with it. Own it. Okay, right. That equity, leaving that legacy. That's what y'all need to do. That's what this whole show is about, getting that legacy going, getting that money going, getting that home ownership, and building your family up. That's how you do it.
That's good, Mary Kay. Exactly what you said. It's all about the ownership piece. So whether it's a single family home, detached, or a townhouse, or a condo, as long as you're owning it and you're investing in self, that's the main that's the main thing. So you're absolutely right. So some people are like, I don't want a house, I don't want to cut the grass. Exactly what you said. Well, there's another option for that. But the key, ownership.
Ownership.
All right, ladies. it's come to the end of the show. I want everybody to give JJ or Bobbi a call. If you have questions, if you just looking and you just want to find out some things, they will help you and they will encourage you along the way. There's always something that they can do. And if you know somebody else, if you own your home, you're like, well, you know, my sister, she's been renting something. Call for your sister.
Yes.
Because if you don't know, you don't know. You know,
That's right.
a lot of people just don't know. And there's going to be information at the end of the show. Don't forget, I always have an advertisement reel at the end of the show about my guests. So if you watch it to the end, watch the advertisements because you need this information. I thank y'all ladies for being on the show today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for having us. I mean, we are out here doing God's work. I forgot to mention that part, which is the most important part of our business, which is why things go so smoothly, is that we both have a relationship with the Lord. And I pray over every single transaction.
Yes.
That lady that's 81 that we were referring to, we were in the basement of the home that they loved, praying, holding hands in the circle. And there were multiple offers on this home. But guess what? That house was meant for them. That house was meant for them. And God, he sees us through almost every single time. So
yes, amen.
I tell you, I'm a little witness. Y'all just don't know. All right, everybody, have a great evening. Love y'all. Y'all take care. Y'all get some houses sold.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, love you. Take care.
Love you too.
All right,
Bye.
bye-bye.